Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Backstage Bimbo TV. My name is Allison Rouse, your most notorious groupie and author of We've Got Tonight, The Life and Times of Notorious Groupie. Me. Notorious. At least that's what a few radio stations said at some point. So, I'll take it. Anyway, so today we're going to do another episode of Cocktails and Rocktails, but we are going to go out of the rock and roll. We're headed down the old backcountry road into country music land. Not really, actually, but just another misadventure of Danny and I's. It kind of was unplanned, another really good time. This story is not in the book, and there's a reason for it, and you'll find out at the end of the vlog. So today we're going country. We're going to talk a little bit about Toby Keith. That's right, folks. I had me some of that tall Midwest drink of water. Climbed him like a jungle gym. So kick back, relax. Today's cocktails is just going to be something simple. Some country. A little PBR. And of course, because, you know, he says he'll never smoke weed with Willie again. There you go, folks. So grab a cold one. Grab your Willies. Let's have a little story time, shall we? All right. Cheers, big ears. Oh, no. Sorry, I'm a beer snob. Easy drinking, not bad, but not my style. So, anyway, this is going to be another misadventure kind of Danny and I's. She and I were bored. We hadn't had a band around for a couple weeks. Concert season was starting to wind down. A little bit bored, so we decided to go down and do the rounds. Now, the rounds are what you've seen the previous video of some of the hotels downtown. All those hotels you can get to within blocks of each other. Once you get off the freeway to downtown in Salt Lake City, and it's pretty easy. So back in the 80s before internet, we didn't have any really idea, unless the boys called us, what concerts were in town. We had Rolling Stone magazine, maybe Metal Edge or Circus or Rip, that would have a few of the dates in it, but we really didn't know their itineraries. So we decide we're bored. We know there's nobody we know coming into town right now. So we decide to go down and do the rounds. Now, the first hotel off the freeway is the Holiday Inn. I did not feature it because it's not there anymore. And this wasn't just, you know, the plain old Holiday Inn. It was the old cool 70s fun center with the putt-putt golf, the indoor pool, the saunas, everything, the whole 9 yards, and all the hotel rooms inside surrounded the fun center. So, you know, you could basically turn your kids loose and not be worried, because all the hotel rooms had these giant window walls. So you could just look out into the fun center, which really worked out conveniently when bands stayed there, because then we could just peek in the windows and see which one. Hey, you naked? Tap, tap, hi. It really was kind of that easy. So anyway, you know, we just got bored. We decided, well, let's just go do the rounds and see if there's any tour buses. You know there was going to be, because I wouldn't be telling this vlog. So, first thing we see, the Holiday Inn was right there. First one you would see. And, of course, we get off the freeway and we see the tour buses. We're all, yay, tour buses. We knew it, we knew it. We are happy groupies. Anyway, so yeah, we get all excited. We see the tour buses and we pull over and we park next to them. As you do. As we always do. And I'm not trying to say this because I think this much of myself or I think I'm that friggin' beautiful, because I don't. It's just rock and roll is that easily accessible. I don't care what anybody thinks that you can't meet certain rock stars. Bullshit. Rock and roll is so accessible, you just gotta get out of your car. And again, that's what we did. Because, like good old Southern country boys, all these guys who were in these tour buses, because also at the Holiday Inn, there was an outdoor area where there was other rooms. And, like, this is where Dave Mustaine was. This is where White Lion was. A lot of the bands. So here's all these guys just lined up. They got their chairs out. They got beers. They're just smoking. Telling you, country boys smoke more of this than any of the rock boys I've been around. Even Cypress Hill guys, hang out with the country boys. They'll give you a run for your money. So Danny and I get out of the car. And what's the first thing? One of those country boys comes right over. Hello, ladies. God, we've heard that mating call 1,000 times. It's the cutest mating call. Hello, ladies. Hello. It works every time, rockers, so just say it in the cute way. Say it with a little bit of sweetness, and yeah, you'll have those groupies in the palm of your hands. So they get up, they come over, they introduce themselves, and it turns out it's Steve Wariner and Toby Keith. And I see Toby coming over. You can't miss him. He is one tall country drink of water. Whew, I want some of that country lemonade. Just good looking. And he was young and very new to the scene. I think this might have been his first or second tour. I know he toured with Steve Wariner a couple of times. But so he's still wet behind the ears. I'm a seasoned groupie at this point. I believe it was around 89-ish. Somewhere around there. I don't have my pass anymore for some reason. I think I washed it on the clothes I was wearing that night. But so anyway, Steve Wariner, Steve's brother, his guitar player, Toby, a couple other roadie guys, they come over and they introduce themselves. We introduce ourselves, and that's all it takes. We go, they pull us out a couple more chairs. We're hanging out. We're just feeling out the energy, the guys, seeing who we like, seeing if there is anybody cute. Me and Danny are just thrilled that we didn't have to sit at home anymore waiting for a band, because we hadn't had one in 2 weeks, and mamas needed their fix. So we were getting our fix. And it was great. It was so unexpected. These are, like I always say, some of the best moments are these just ski-wambus moments that just happen out of nowhere when you least expect it. So we're smoking, we're drinking, we're just having a really good time. And Danny pairs off with Steve Wariner, and I'm starting to pair off with Toby Keith. And we just go into our own little foursome and end up going out to dinner with them, because it was still pretty early. I believe it was around 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we pulled over. And the boys were just sort of sitting there enjoying an afternoon before their dinner. So we all went out to dinner. And I believe we went to like Benihana's or something, do something exotic. And I remember Toby I don't think he'd been to a Benihana's before, because he's like, what's going on here? What is this guy doing? Wow, look at that smoke coming out of those onions. No, Toby, if that's the excitement that you are having on this tour, you better sign this release form to hang out with me, okay? Because, dude, we're about to go from mild to wild. Not that wild, really, because we just go back to the hotel, me and Toby and Danny and Steve. And we're just going back. We're smoking more. We're over in Steve's room. And my family, and Danny has been a part of this as well, because, we grew up together and we spent a lot of nights over at each other's homes growing up. So we used to play this game in my family. We called it Dog Pile. And it would go my dad, my mom, my brother, and we would just one body on top of the other, and to see how long we could balance. And then my dad would always, shake us off, and it would, just be stupid, fun family stuff. I don't know if anybody else does this. Maybe my family's just a bunch of freaks. I don't know. So conversation is flowing. And ladies and gentlemen, we don't talk about, it's my favorite song. I love that song. Does the music just totally touch you the way it touches me? It touches me. No, we don't talk about that shit. They get enough of that while they're at work at the concerts in the meet and creep room. So when me and my friends are hanging out with bands, there is no telling where the conversation's going to go. So we end up doing a dog pile with Steve Warner, then Danny, then Toby Keith, which how Toby fit on Danny is beyond me, because Danny's taller than me. I'm only 5'6". She's about 5'9". But Toby, like, 12 foot, and we haven't gotten there yet. But we're about to, because trust me, I felt that thing. So he gets on top of Danny, I get on top of Toby, and then we just all end up start wrestling and goofing off, and that's when Toby first kissed me. Oh, cool. And, you know, I really didn't ask earlier who was who or what you do, because I don't want to seem like a starfucker. I just see this hot country boy and tall, perfect drink of water for me. Mama's getting a good fix today. Sorry to pause again, I had to burp. I try to be somewhat ladylike, you know, both feet on the ground, burp in private. Not ladylike. Who am I kidding? Anyway, so then Toby first kissed me, and we're just hanging out, we smoke some more, and we end up going back to his room. Total lot of fun. Like, he just, such a big guy, just picked me up, and I'm 5'6", and he's like 6 something, and he just picks me up and just tosses, the second we get in his room, just tosses me onto his bed, and we're just having a blast. We are just sort of wrestling, having fun, smoked some more weed, had a drink, and like we were doing some two-stepping around, because, you know, naturally when you go into a hotel room with a musician or someone, music always comes on. Glass of wine, music is playing in the background. You're just hanging out, enjoying your evening. Having sex, music is in the background. So we're playing some music, we're two-stepping, we're just having a good time. Then the clothes start coming off, and it's, oh, daddy. I love me some Toby Keith after this. He was good, and ladies, I had him when he was still as good as he once was. Trust me, this whiskey girl knew how to take that country boy in 12 different directions. Oops, sorry. I keep having to adjust my camera. My thingy's loose. But so anyway, yeah, so clothes come off. Mom is happy. I am climbing this boy like a jungle gym. Like, literally, I think at one point, I was hanging upside down with my legs from his neck. He didn't expect it, but it was a trick I had performed before. It was kind of a precursor to the upside down tour bus trick, which I'll get into. Excuse me. Like I said, those country boys, they love their weed. So yeah, Toby and I are getting down and dirty. We are just having a good time. Like, this boy is not boring. I think we broke something. A drawer or something in the thingy thing, in the dresser. About knocked the TV. He had to catch the TV, but we'll go more into little roughy, toughy, sexy wexies onto my Patreon channel. So yeah, that's the first day I met Toby Keith. Then we all went to the show the next day. Hung out. Toby just was like, we're sitting on the bus, smoking, having a drink with the band after the show and everybody. We're getting ready to go back to the hotel. And Toby's like, I've never met a girl like you. He's like, and Toby's not dumb, so I don't mean to come off like he's a dumb country boy, because there is nothing dumb about him. Like I said, I love me some Toby Keith, because he is as good as he once was. But so anyway, yeah, so we go back, and he's like, I never would a million years thought I would have met a girl like you. I'm like, that's because I'm a little bit rock and roll, you're a little bit country, honey. We meet in the middle, and somehow we just have a good time, don't we? And we did. And like I said, had a good time with Toby the rest of the time they were in town, because they stayed a couple extra days because they had a day off, and they were going to go, I think it was Idaho or something they were going to next, maybe Tahoe, somewhere. And, oh, sorry guys. My camera handle's loose, so I have to adjust. But so yeah, we ended up just hanging out for a couple days, just having a good time with Toby and Steve, and never even in a million years, and really truly enjoyed the concert. Had never heard Toby's music before, still don't remember it. So we hang out, we say goodbye. Like I said, Toby was a blast. There was not 1 second of my time where I did not have a good time with him, where he was not being a gentleman and opening doors. Even in bed, he was like, "This okay?" I'm like, "Flip me around. I don't care. Wipe me up with a hotel towel. I'm cool. If I don't like it, you'll hear me say no. No problem." Yeah, so, and years later, this is why this is not in the book. So years, and Steve Warner and Danny kept seeing each other. Like, and even there was one time that we decided to send. She had been talking to Steve. He's like, "Oh, I miss, like cookies and home cooking and stuff." So we'd been hanging out the Doubletree Hotel with some band, and Doubletree is famous for having tins of these big, delicious cookies in the room for their guests. So we went and stole everybody's cookies and put them in a care package like we had made them and sent them out to Steve and Toby. We did that. I also used to do Mrs. Fields cookies in my own oven and toss my kitchen like with mixing bowls and stuff like I had made these cookies. And when a musician got there, I'd take them right out of the oven. Yeah. Now you guys know. You loved some cookies that maybe weren't mine. What can I say? Anyway, so yeah, hung out. Steve and Danny kept seeing each other. And Toby and I had seen each other another time that he came through with Steve Warner. Cool. Had a great time. Like I said, nothing bad to say about this. Years later, after I had just published the book, Danny and I are driving down the road, and she's got it on a country station because she's dated a few country musicians at this point. Toby Keith comes on. "I'm not as good as a red solo cup of something." So Toby Keith, no, I think it was Whiskey Girl. And he kept calling me rock and roll. "Hey, rock and roll, get over here." Because like I said, he was a little bit country, I was a little bit rock and roll. We kind of met in the middle and had a great time. So Toby Keith comes on the radio, and I'm talking to Danny, and I don't know why, but I turned to Danny and I'm like, "God, I wish I would have slept with Toby Keith." She slams on the brakes in the middle of the road, looks at me and says, "What do you mean you wish you would have slept with Toby Keith? You did." I'm like, "When did I sleep with Toby Keith? Steve Warner much?" And I was like, "No, I slept with his brother. That was his brother, No, Allison, that was Toby Keith. You slept with him a couple times. And I even hung out with him once in Vegas smoking weed on the bus." And he was like, "Why you look familiar?" I'm like, "Not telling you. I was having too much fun playing with him." And I just wasn't into sleeping with him at that point in my life. But yeah. Anyway, so there we go. There's going to be musicians that I might have forgotten about, or that I just don't want to include in the book. And this is one of them. And they're not always going to be rock and roll, like I said. If there was a tour bus, we pulled over. We did not care who it was. We wanted our family, our tribe. And if we went without them for a couple weeks, it was back then when you're so young, you're 20 years old, going without your friends for a couple weeks is traumatic. So yeah, we would go down looking, and every so often we'd run into these awesome little haphazard times that we never expected. And Toby, you are awesome. I didn't mean to forget you all those years that we had our thing. It was a blast. I just always thought you were Steve Warner's brother I slept with. I said, a lot of years of hanging out backstage, I can't remember everything. There's a couple more stories, especially a couple metallic ones that are going to be posted here that aren't in the book too. So, all right, folks, welcome, or thank you for coming with me across the Macon, Georgia line, or whatever that is. I don't know country. I know Willie Nelson. I'm Johnny Cash. Old school country, Patsy, Loretta. New country, I don't know. Outside of Tim McGraw and Toby and Steve Warner and the Judds. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in today for my stupid little country story. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bells on the way out. Come hear some more cocktails and rocktails with me, your favorite, most notorious groupie, Alice and Ralph. Have a great week, guys. See you next time.